How you were raised may have shut the door. You feel like you're at a disadvantage. Forces of darkness may have locked the door, tried to keep you from your healing, from your freedom. It's been that way a long time. Feels like the door is not only shut, but it's locked, deadbolted. The good news is God doesn't have to open the door. He can come through it. He's not limited by what's limiting us. We're natural. He's supernatural. You need to get your fire back. Closed doors can't stop you. Locked doors cannot keep you from your destiny. God is not restricted by what's holding you back. He's not hoping someone will open the door, hoping someone will let him in. He doesn't need permission. He controls the universe. The medical report may say that you're not going to get well. It looks like that door is permanently closed. Get ready. God is about to come through the door. It's going to be unusual, out of the ordinary, a supernatural healing. It may seem like the door has closed on your dreams. You'll never get into college, never meet the right person, never have that baby. Every circumstance says it's too late. That door is locked. It's never going to open. Just smile and say, it doesn't have to open. Father, thank you that you're about to come through the door. Thank you that you're making a way where I don't see a way. Thank you that closed doors can't stop what you have for me. And some of the doors that have been closed for a long time, you need to get ready. God is about to show out in your life. One touch of His favor, one good break, one contract, one healing, meeting one right person will catapult you to a new level. And what I love is even when we lock the door, like the disciples, even when we let fear, insecurity, intimidation cause us to shrink back, God says, that's no problem for me. Fear can't keep me out. Depression can't stop what I have for you. Limited thinking can't hold me back. God overrides every negative force. You may have locked the door, but it's the right time. God is going to come through the door. He's not going to let you miss your destiny. When I came back from college, I worked behind the scenes here at Lakewood doing the television production. I thought that's what I would do the rest of my life. I liked being in the background. I'm naturally more quiet and reserved. But many times my father tried to get me up to speak. He'd say, Joel, you'd be a great pastor. Why don't you speak for me sometime? I didn't want to get up in front of people. I was afraid and intimidated. I not only shut the door, I made sure it was deadbolted, put a couple chains on it. For 17 years, I made sure that door was securely locked. But when my father went to be with the Lord, God didn't knock on the door to see if I would open it. He didn't ask me for permission. He didn't check to see if it was unlocked. He came through the door. All of a sudden, I had the desire to step up and pastor the church. And even though I was still afraid, I felt a strength, a courage, a boldness. Didn't make sense to my mind. How could I step up to speak? I didn't have the training, the experience. Thoughts told me it would never work out. But down in my spirit, I felt this boldness saying, I can do all things through Christ. I am strong in the Lord. If God had waited for me to open the door, He'd still be waiting. God is so good even when we close the door. Even when we think of all the reasons why it's not going to work out. Why we can't step up and lead the department. Why we can't get well. At the right time, God's going to come through that door and thrust you into your destiny.
Two things, my dream and my faith. Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. You can never lose faith. That's the key. You have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to believe when you don't see no way how. You have to buckle down and keep believing. God is always coming. Here's the deal. The moment you ask God for something, He boxes it up and He ships it to you. Here's the problem with the package. He never gives you the date that it's going to arrive. It's going to come. He just don't tell you when. If He told you when, It will destroy the relationship that's required to have an abundant life, which is faith. If God told you you were going to be rich in August of 2021, do you know how crazy you would talk to people from now until then? Because you know on August 21, I'm going to be rich. But he don't tell you when the package is going to arrive. So here's the deal. He wants you to stay in faith to receive the package, because he only delivers to Faith Street. If you step off over here to I Don't See How Boulevard, he don't ship there. If you get over here to I Don't See How Circle, he does not ship there. He only sends the boxes to Faith Street. So when he sends it and you'd have moved off Faith Street, the package got to go back. It's just like UPS or the post office. If they send you a box and you ain't home, they take it back. That's how it works, man. Let me tell y'all something. Being successful is not a magic trick. You just have to learn the principles of success. I ain't got no degree. I got nothing like that to tell you about. I didn't finish school. I flunked out of school. I'm on my third marriage, lost everything I've owned twice. Been homeless, lived in the car. I am telling you, your education ain't got nothing to do with it. Education ain't in the Bible. Emory is not in the Bible. It ain't in there. Harvard ain't in the Bible. Look, find it. Show me education in the Bible. No, man, it's your dreams and visions. A man without a dream or vision shall perish. That's what the Bible is built on. It's what God puts in your imagination for you to have. Everything God wants you to have, he puts it in your imagination. Albert Einstein said imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. Everything you imagine is God showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. And he puts it in your imagination so you can see what he got for you. So if you've been imagining that you're going to be rich one day, it's because God wants you to be rich. Now, when you going to ask him for it, and are you going to wait for it to happen? Or are you going to lose faith? Here's what Christians mess up at. Well, I guess it wasn't the Lord's will. Who are you? How you know what God's will is? It all happens at an appointed time. But you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen for you.
You're not God. Like, you don't create. You can't wake yourself up. You don't know how many days you have left. You can't be playing with the days you have on foolishness. So you have to learn how to control yourself, right? And so y'all know my circumstances. I'm not here because I'm sweet. I'm here because one day I was like, yo, E, you need to get a control of this, bro. You need to get control of your life. You do not have control. You watching doggone TV playing video games when you should be out here grinding. So there are people all the day, people are ET. Bro, you do not want to be me. You're not ready for this grind, bro. You're too immature. You're not ready. I'm talking about I was flying from, I flew from Detroit to Milwaukee, Milwaukee to Atlanta, Atlanta to San Diego back to Milwaukee. Like, the grind was real, right? Matter of fact, when I was in Milwaukee, it was funny because I've been on the road so much this last week. Matter of fact, when I was in Milwaukee, I did 5 gigs in one day. I did 5 speaking engagements in one day. So when I got to Milwaukee, my man was like, yo, you look tired. I was like, oh, okay, let's go. Now, my man was like, bro, you look tired. I was like, okay, I'm about to show you then. Because what he was saying was he was looking at my body and he saw the different time zones. He saw the fatigue on my body. Like, he could physically see it. He was like, yo, you tired. And I told my body, like, bro, they bought this 20 grand, bro. You ain't tired.
When we allow our dreams to pull us, they unleash a creative force that can overpower everything in our way. To unleash this power, though, your dreams must be well-defined. A fuzzy future has little pull power. Well-defined dreams are not fuzzy. Wishes are fuzzy. To really achieve your dreams, to really have your future plans pull you, your dreams must be vivid. If you've ever hiked a 14,000-foot peak in the Rocky Mountains, one thought has surely come to mind. How did the settlers of this country do it? How did they get from the East Coast to the West Coast? By foot. Carrying one day's supply of food and water is hard enough. Can you imagine hauling all of your worldly goods with you? Mile after mile, day after day, month after month? These people had dreams, big ones. They had ambition. They didn't focus on the hardship of getting up the mountain. In their minds, they were already on the other side. Their bodies just hadn't gotten them there yet. Despite all of their pains and struggles, births and deaths along the way, those who made it to the other side had a single vision: to reach the land of continuous sunshine and extraordinary wealth, to start over where anything was possible, where everything was possible. Their dreams were stronger than the obstacles in their way. You've got to be a dreamer. You've got to see the future finished in advance. You've got to see California while you're climbing 14,000-foot peaks. You've got to see the finish line while you're running the race. You've got to hear the cheers when you're in the middle of a monster project. And you've got to be willing to put yourself through the paces of doing the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Because that's how you realize your dreams. Our great country was founded with dreams. They've always been important. Dreams are what caused thousands of people to leave their homes and families and start over in a land where anything was possible. To this day, dreams continue to bring people to our land of opportunity, to a country where you can start with little and end up with a lot, to America. Don't you sometimes wonder why so many immigrants who come to America can build a new life and a fortune while many of the people who were born here are barely surviving? They have a dream, a defined goal, ambition. Aside from the pioneers that crossed the prairies and the mountains to reach their vision of hope and future promises, there are other amazing examples of how ambition has shaped America. Take Ben Franklin, for instance. When most people think of Ben Franklin, they remember the kite and the lightning bolt and the discovery of electricity. What a lot of people may not know is that Ben Franklin was one of the first writers to address self-making. When Franklin started Poor Richard's Almanac in 1732, he used the blank spaces between the crop data and the weather information to insert clever bits of moral and practical advice. I'm sure you've heard the saying, fish and company start to stink in 3 days. Well, that was one of hundreds of Ben Franklin's comments on life. Another was, diligence is the mother of good luck. You know, it's amazing how hard-working, smart-working people have all the luck. We sometimes hear of a brand new musical group, an overnight success. They must have been in the right place at the right time, knew the right people, had a friend to help them out.
Everybody in your life will have a turn-back moment. No matter who you are, you're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have doubts. You're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations and challenges. And everybody has what's called a turn-back moment. You always have a moment in your life where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back. The sad thing is, the average person turns back. But think about this. If you're going somewhere and you turn back, you can never get there. If you wake up every day and go get in your car and say, I'm going to the store, and halfway to the store, you turn around, and then the next day, you go to the store and you turn around, you do realize that you'll never get to the store. So whatever you needed from the store now is even a greater need because you turn back. And every time you turn back, it does not change the need. So what kept me going was, I made turning back, giving up, never an option. And I had really dark moments, man, where I thought I just didn't think I was going to make it. I mean, where I am today, I didn't see it clearly at all. I had a lot of turn back moments. But you know what it was for me, man? Being successful is so hard, but I realized that not being successful was hard too. The difference between not being successful hard and trying to get successful and hard, if you're trying to get successful and it's hard, at least there's some payout. There's a payoff. If you hang in there, there's payoff. When you're not successful, it's hard. It's hard not having money. It's hard never knowing how to come up with your mortgage and your bond and your rent and your let. It's hard not knowing that. How you gonna feed your children? How you gonna pay your bills? It's hard, ain't it? So if it's hard that way, and it's hard being successful, I might as well deal with how hard it is to be successful, because at least one day that could be a payout. If you just stay in the hard part of life of not being successful, ain't no payoff. There's no result for being poor. It's just mopo. You just post some more. There's no payout. Just make the decision that you're not going to be poor anymore. You have the right. Don't matter how you were born. I was born very poor. My father made $5 a day, $5 US a day. We had 5 children.
Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full. I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. The reason you're here is because there's something in you that says, I can do more. This just can't be it. There's something in you. There's a calling on your life. There's something in your heart that caused you to get dressed and spend the money to go to seminar after seminar and listen to message after message and speaker after speaker. Because there's something in you that tells you this is not it for you. You have not peaked here. There's more in you that you are expressing. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what's in store for you if you challenge yourself, if you persist and persevere, if you take ownership for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Create what you want. You have the power in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine, to control your destiny, to make a difference in our children, to make a difference on the planet, to make an impact. Let us say together, it's me. And let us say together, it's hard. Say it like you know it. Say it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. There are people who have seen their retirements taken away from them by the corporations that they work for. They were within 2 or 3 years of retiring, and they had it taken from them. The #1 entrepreneurs in this country now are senior citizens. The #1 employer, #2, McDonald's and Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I guarantee you those people did not have a plan to end up living their lives at the end of life with those types of jobs. And they didn't have a plan like you have, and while you're investing in yourself, not to.
I look at myself every day, and I always come back to the conclusion, I can't be like everybody else.
Every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance, it's definitely a chance for you to give up and for you to just to fall apart.
Man, I remember I was stripped of everything I owned, from apartments, the cars, everything I came in contact with. I was stripped of. But all through them storms, them trials and them tribulations, I began to soar like an eagle. See?
Your results will turn those who ignored you into fame. Let your results speak louder than your voice. Can you hide yourself in the library? Can you hide yourself in the gym? Can you? Hide yourself in the boardroom and plan and do what's required behind the scenes. In order to manifest the moment, there are many people out there in the world that don't have the capabilities, not to carry on the good fight.
I don't want to be like everybody else. I never said that I was the best, but I'm going to be the best of myself. I'm going to be good within myself. I'm going to learn within myself. I'm going to seek everything that I need within myself. And I may not have everyone celebrating with me. Everybody's not going to clap for me. But I have to have the ability to celebrate for myself. I don't need to be a part of a crowd to feel good about who I am inside. You don't need to be a part of a crowd to know who you are inside. Because everything that everybody else is doing doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you.
All the hotels and plane rides, all of the audiences I spoke to, all of the money, that I missed out on because I didn't know that I didn't know, and I thought I knew. I was a big fish in a small pond. I can't tell you, if you don't get anything else, you have to look at your relationships and you've got to ask yourself the question, what is this relationship doing to me? And I mean in every area of your life. When the doctor looked at me and said, you have cancer. Cancer is the most feared word in 7 different languages. One of the first things I had to do, I found out who had cancer at some point in time or was living with cancer and conquered it. I surrounded myself with people who had done what I wanted to do, who were winning at the game. See, it's very important, every area of your life. If you want to improve your health, start hanging around healthy people. They did a 30-year study.
You don't need to be like everybody else, but you need to be the best of yourself. Be able to feel good about who you are, what you are, and what you are ultimately made of. Because without that, how far are you willing to go? Don't sacrifice yourself to please others. Don't give all of your energy to people who really don't care about you. Make sure you understand the significance and how you go about your life.
Why do you feel that you need to be a part of a group or some kind of an organization to feel important? Do you feel that it's necessary for you to stand out because you're a part of a group?
And said that the reason that most people are obese, it's a mind virus. Listen to what they said. A mind virus is communicated mind to mind. That if you have a friend that's fat or you marry somebody that's obese, you have a 41% to up to 161% of becoming obese yourself. Even if they live in another state. Whoa, why? Because birds of a feather flock together. Never forget, high school teacher Mr. Leroy Washington said, Mr. Brown, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. Whoa. Think about that. Part of your mindset development, not only listening, not only reading, but you have got to look at your relationships, upgrade your relationships, and continue to evaluate them and make sure they're an asset to you and not a liability. My son John Leslie is a motivational speaker. He has a saying, who should you count on and who should you count out?
There are things that are happening around us every day. The things that are happening to us right now happens for a reason. What you are going through right now, someone else is going through it in a different manner. But we always ask the question, why me? Why is this happening to me? Everybody wants destiny, everybody wants manifestation.
But there's also opportunity. There's opportunity to get stronger, and get smarter, and get faster, and get tougher, and get more stable, and get more resilient, and get better. When you break, you have the opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. So if you break, if you break.
The eagle is one of the only birds that when a storm is coming, he doesn't fly away, but he flies into the storm. And he uses the pressures of the storm to soar with using very little energy to soar above the storm to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security. Don't you want to soar? How would you use the storm to rise, to elevate? How would you use the storm to soar above everybody that told you you couldn't do what you're doing? And what drives you?
Everybody wants fulfillment. Everybody wants the next level and relationship and a higher quality of living. But nobody wants to eliminate distractions. Nobody wants to disappear for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then eliminate all distractions. Get into a place where you can focus on just you. What if you could just shut out every distraction? What if you could just Shut out the world for just a season and focus on weighing the fire's focus.
The fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning. As you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
I'm about doing permanent fixes so then you can move on. Be proud of the small steps that you take along the journeys. Be proud of the fact that you're moving forward and not moving back.
Because it don't matter how hard you go, when you're on a journey to go get what's yours, you will be knocked down. And I hope it's the faith that gives you the unwavering conviction, the courage, the dedication, what you sacrificing. Because being physically committed to the process without being emotionally attached to the outcomes is flying into the storm and asking yourself, what can I extract from this storm to soar, to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security?
The one thing, whether or not this is a dream or not, becomes irrelevant. The only thing that matters, if it is a dream, is whether you can realize what the essence of the dream is. Consciousness. And you can only realize that directly, here and now, as this. Oh. Descartes, of course, the French philosopher, said, I think, therefore I am. If he had waited a little bit longer before saying anything, he could have come to the point of cessation of thinking, and then he could have made the more profound statement, I am conscious, therefore I am. Thinking is only an expression of consciousness, a surface expression of consciousness. So this realization of, we could call inner stillness, of spaciousness, of presence, of, well, there's a term that's very popular these days, and that's a good thing. It's called mindfulness, which I use almost never, except when I explain why I don't use it. I don't use it because it seems to imply that your mind is full, but it's not what mindfulness is. It really should be called mind emptiness. The entire practice of, for example, people find certain esoteric spiritual practices very strange and hard to understand. Zen is one of those. People say, what does it all mean? What's Zen all about? Cessation of thinking without loss of consciousness. That's what the Zen masters are trying to show you, non-conceptually. As the Zen master became famous because when he was asked, please explain the meaning of Zen, all he would do is raise his finger and look at you. Is that it? Yeah. And I've been in the monastery for 15 years for that. Yes. Sometimes it takes a long time before realizing that it doesn't take time to know who you are. That's a paradox. So I'm not saying don't go to a Zen monastery. Perhaps you have to. It may take time to realize that it does not take time, but it doesn't have to take time. It's here and now. I'm saying this to especially the spiritual seekers among you who have made it your life purpose to seek. whatever it is, the ultimate spiritual experience or transformation. And the very seeking has become, without you knowing it, the greatest obstacle to spiritual realization.
First of all, one of the things about the global pandemic that I said to my staff and to my family the moment I heard how the circumstances in the world changed, I just said I refuse to be a victim to these circumstances. So a victim consciousness is when we allow something in our outer environment to control the way we feel and think. So if I say to you, Jay, why are you so upset today? And you said, oh, it's because of this person or circumstance. What you're really saying is something in my outer environment, some person or some condition is controlling the way I think and feel. Now, that's not the truth. That's just a response, right? So anything that controls our thoughts and feelings causes us to be victim to those things. And the stronger the emotion we feel to some circumstance in our life, the more we pay attention to it. And where we place our attention is where we place our energy. So we're giving our life force, we're giving our power away to that circumstance. And so I just made up my mind that it was a great opportunity to get into the cocoon. And I don't think I've been healthier in my life. I mean, I'm usually on 6 different time zones in 4 weeks, running a lot of events, as you said. But I saw it as an opportunity to really self-reflect, to really immerse myself into my own personal work, to redo our website, to redo our brand, to connect more with my staff, to cook my own meals again and work out and use my body and do my walking meditations on the beach. And of course, I've had a fabulous 9 months or so. But I think, I think one of the challenges I think many people have is really the discernment of information. It's really difficult to know what's the truth anymore, just because information is so accessible. And I used to say that in an age of information, ignorance is a choice. And now we have to confront a whole nother level, and that is the information that we're getting. Is it actually supporting us, or is it something that really is an incentive to cause us to make choices? So for me, I think the biggest challenge has been just really an awakening to what kind of information I want to expose myself to. And I think it's now more than ever a challenge for a lot of people in the world.
So I'm going to talk to you today about a different way of looking at what real is. It's not easy to figure out what real is because we don't really have infinite knowledge, and so we're always making some sets of presuppositions about what's most real. And it really matters what you assume is most real, because you base the decisions that you make that run the entire course of your life on those assumptions, whether you recognize it or not. And if you get the assumptions wrong, or even if you leave them incomplete, you're going to pay a big price for it. And the assumptions that we use in our culture, although they've enabled us to develop a tremendously potent technology, are incomplete in ways that have also cost us and that are extremely dangerous. And since the scientific age began, we've lived in a universe where the bottom strata of reality is considered to be something that's dead, like dirt. It's matter, it's objective, it's external, and there isn't any element of it that lends any reality to phenomena like meaning or purpose. That's all been relegated to the subjective and in some ways to the illusory. But it's by no means self-evident that that set of presuppositions is correct, because we lack infinite knowledge, and there's many things about the structure of being that we don't understand. The main one being consciousness. We can't account for it at all, and we can't account for the role it appears to play in the transformation of potential into actuality, which is a role that's been recognized by physicists for almost 100 years now, and which remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in science. There are other ways of looking at what's real, and these other ways have some advantages, and one of the advantages they have is that they protect us. Knowing these other ways of operating within reality, defining reality, protect us from certain kinds of pathologies. And modern people are prone to a fair number of pathologies that stem from assumptions of the systems they use to define reality. And one of those pathologies is kind of a nihilistic hopelessness, which is a consequence of the recognition that in the final analysis nothing really has any meaning. And because life is difficult, and that's a meaning that you can't escape, being forced to abandon your belief in a positive or a transcendent meaning can leave you weak at the times when you really can least afford to be weak.
Of all the stuff I've gone through in my life, eating out of trash cans, sleeping in abandoned buildings. The worst thing that ever happened is when I went to the hospital and they told me my wife had a chronic illness and she might not be able to walk one day. People say, E.T., ask CJ, it never broke me. Why? Because I've been broken so much. I've been defeated so much. I've been disappointed so much in my life that I know what it feels like and I can handle it.
And I'll tell you another thing. It's not even from the military. Like, the military requires discipline, obviously, but there's plenty of people in the military that don't have it, right? And many people lose their discipline when they leave the military because it's not being imposed on them anymore. So, I mean, just go look around. I mean, being in the military does not make you a disciplined person. Being from a disciplined family does not make you a disciplined person. Being in a disciplined group does not make you a disciplined person. What makes you a disciplined person is choosing to be disciplined. So, yeah, and also as far as telling people to man up, which, you know, when someone says, how do I get up early every day? I say, get up early every day. How do I stop eating sugar? Stop eating sugar. If that's the definition of man up, but obviously it's not just men that need discipline in their life. I don't think I use that term, but what I do tell people is to get after it. That's what I tell people, to get after it. I tell people to do the things that they know they're supposed to do.
He said, son, you have busted up subclavian artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. We have to rush you back. Take the main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. When I opened my eyes from recovery, the same doctor was over me. He said, son, has some good news and some bad news for you. I said, you got some bad news for me? After telling me I was about to die, I'm still alive. How bad can it get? I'm still here. He said, the good news is we saved your life. I said, thank you, sir. He said, the bad news is, Ink, you have nerve damage in your right shoulder. I said, okay, cool. He said, but son, it's a strong possibility that you probably can never play the game of football again in your life. I said, no way. I said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but I've been working for this ever since I was 7 years old. He said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but you wasn't in the park with me and my mother. And I was 7 years old and she was sitting in that beer 3 after she got done working at Wendy's. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't come up in that 2-bedroom home, 14 people sleeping on the floor. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't miss those meals and stay focused and never made an excuse. I never cheated.
I refuse to lose. I refuse to give up. Some people like to give up on a lot of things. Some people like to just give up and quit. Quitting is easy. I don't believe in quitting. I don't believe in submitting to things that don't have control of my life. Losing, that's easy for some people because they don't believe in themselves. Giving up, that's easy because that's the easiest way to get out of things. Making excuses, oh, that's the best thing that most people enjoy more than anything. You hold on to excuses like it's a teddy bear. And that's not the way you want to be. I, myself, I'm never going to give excuses to satisfaction. I'm never going to give my competition to satisfaction. Because the greatest competition is you. So you want to give up? You want to quit? You really want to lose. And then when you lose, you start blaming people.
It didn't happen to me at 19. It didn't happen to me at 20. It didn't happen to me at 30. It happened to me at 40. After I had been through all the pressure I thought I could go through. Life said, you finished with all the pressure? I said, yeah. I said, let's bring on the heat. And then when I went through the pressure and the heat, y'all, I thought it was over. The Creator said, now you ready to get cut? You said you wanted to be great, son. You said you wanted to travel the world. You say you want to help people, inspire people. And you gotta be a diamond. But listen to me very closely if you've ever studied the diamond. Once it goes through that type of pressure and it finally becomes a diamond, at that point you can't break it no more. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? Once you get to that point, you cannot be broken anymore. And the only way they can tell if a diamond is a diamond or if it's fake is by applying pressure is how they tell. They'll just look at it. You think it's just looking at the thing, like I looked in the thing. They'll just bring it here, put it on some glass. Okay, it's real.
Right? There's things that you know you're supposed to do as a human being. Things that you know are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that you know are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Don't do the things that are making you weaker. Start doing the things that are going to make you stronger and smarter and faster and healthier and going to make you a better human being. And I'll say the same thing to this guy. You want to be more disciplined? Get after it. That's it. Get up early. Do some kind of workout. Eat good foods. Clean your room. Make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things that you put on the list. That's what discipline is. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. And it's worth it. And it is the thing that is going to bring you freedom.
I never cheated. Like my conscience still until this day won't let me, like I can't cheat. I can't look myself in the mirror and say, Ink, you did a good job knowing that I cheated. I can't cheat. One of the greatest pieces of advice that my mother gave me was this: son, whenever you start, you make sure you finish. And the problem with the world today, people get involved with things, and if they don't like a certain person, if they don't like the process, if it's not what they thought it was, they quit. And what they don't understand about quitting becomes a habit that doesn't just affect you. Later on in life, when you get a wife, when you get some kids, or you get a family, it's gonna come back to hunt you, and it will one day affect them. That is why I tell you the process is more important than the product. It's not even about the outcome for me. It's about, can you take pride in what you do as an individual, and every night when you look in the mirror, knowing that you gave everything you had to it.
When all you had to do was give it everything you had within yourself. For me, you can't beat me. I'll beat myself before I let someone else beat me. Does it sound like I'm overconfident? Does it sound like that I know more than you know? No, I know me better than you know me. I know what I'm capable of. Question is, do you know what you're capable of? Do you realize that the greatest challenges that you face in life, if you can adapt and overcome those challenges, wow! Isn't that amazing? That's all you can get from me. Wow! How explosive that is. Competition? There is no competition. It's only you. You're your greatest challenge. You can also be your greatest enemy.
So I'm being honest with you. I'm not giving you the 7 principles to. I'm trying to tell you the very first thing I want to tell you before we go through the principles. It's going to be a dog fight. And if you soft, this ain't that you want to get out now. This is where you like, I quit. But if you're willing to say, I'm not going to quit, I guarantee you whatever success you want to have, you're going to have it. All right, so here's number 1. I apologize. It took a long time to get to number 1. Number 1, Denzel Washington. You must be very intentional and deliberate. You must be very intentional and deliberate. The stuff that you wrote down on that piece of paper is not going to happen by osmosis. You're not going to wake up one day and find a law degree. You're not just going to walk out of your house. There it is with my name on it. I'm a doctor now. It suddenly appeared. It's not going to work like that. If you're married, it's not going. If you're married, I promise you, I've been married over 26 years. If you're going to have a good relationship, you're going to have to work for it.